Kevin O'Connell. 0-3. Started 3-0 last year. They've lost. They're 0-3. They've lost all 3 games by 1 score. Regression is a real thing. Anyone who thought it wasn't is sort of crazy because that's just how it works.
Well, hold on for a second. All right, they were 11-0 in 1-score games last year, and they're 0-3 this year. Like you thought they might regress to the mean, but not to the extent this one has. And
I did just because, like, this Brady, that's not sustainable.
Well, you're not going to go 0-11 this year. You thought they were going to get like maybe you lose 5 of those games.
I'm looking at their schedule coming out. I was like, it's going to be a struggle.
It'll be a tough schedule.
Yeah, it's going to be a struggle for them. And honestly, they should have won last week. And Brandon Staley probably would have got fired for losing that game for the Chargers. But I knew a regression was coming. I know you picked them to win the NFC North.
He said, laughing.
Which is going to be tough now. They might be sellers at the trade deadline with Kirk Cousins.
I don't know. We'll see. I'm calling the game this week. So
I'll tell you what. Before we continue, listen, we got a video of Kevin O'Connell's press conference. Let's hear what he had to say.
No, I think that's something that we're gonna fix one way or the other. Either guys are gonna do it, or we're gonna have to put other guys in the game that have ball security.
So, sort of an ultimatum. Guys got to stop, bless you, or whatever that you would say for a cough.
It was a cough.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I was just trying to be polite. Kevin O'Connell making it clear, like, dude, you got to hold on to the ball, right? If you want to keep playing. Do you think they trade Kirk Cousins? Do you guys think they trade Kirk Cousins?
If they continue to lose, I think it's a real possibility. A team like maybe the Jets or somebody else that's in need of a quarterback, if somebody gets injured down the road, could potentially do it. But I just want to go back to that statement, right? It was like, we're going to find guys that are going to do it the right way, hold on to the football. We all know who he's talking about. It's Alexander Madison, because he's not going to bench Jefferson.
It's why they traded for Cam Akers.
Yeah, they're not going to bench Jefferson, even though he had that big fumble first Philly. They're not going to bench Hockenson, who they just paid a ton of money, even though he should have caught that pass to win the game.
Yeah.
So go ahead and put a name on it, Coach. Our running backs have to do a better job of securing the football. Because, again, unless you're going to treat everybody equal, which I think he's trying to do by saying this, there's no way you're benching JJ. There's no way you're benching Hockenson. The only person that's fumbled the ball besides them is Mattson. So, what are we talking about here, Coach O'Connell?
What do they say? They say 4 points of pressure. They used to say 3, and I always thought it was funny because then, one of the coach keeps saying, "No, we got this other way we're going to carry. It's 4 points of pressure." And I was like, "Whoa, 4 points!" I thought it was just 3. No, 4 points of pressure. Breastplate, bicep. And on the football, I was like, "Wow, 4 points of pressure." So then it reminded me of the times. Remember, there's 8-minute abs.
Yeah, no, it's from.
I'm gonna get shredded on 8-minute abs, and some dude comes over, is like, "Yeah, I can do that in 7 minutes."
That's literally Something About Mary. It's a serial killer from Something About Mary. But he's like,
exactly.
7-minute abs. He's like, what about 6-minute abs? 6-minute abs. I thought you were doing a Something About Mary bit.
No, bro, I was saying that basically, there's gonna be 5 points of pressure. You carry it like this, you put your helmet on, and you get it's how many more ways? Yeah, just 2 hands the whole time.
8 points of pressure.
You don't fumble the football that way. Everyone's running around like it's the old school days when they first started football, in the scrum. So that was back when they were stabbing dudes when they'd run through the line of scrimmage. Literally. Way back when football was first invented, they had knives out there. They were running like this because they literally were getting punctured in the lung.
Patrick in the chat pointing out Kirk Cousins. Is that right? Kirk Cousins does have a no trade clause, doesn't he?
He does. So but that just means he has to agree to it.
Exactly.
Hopefully, people understand that's not he can't be traded.
It's not.
No. But I mean, if the Vikings are 0-3 or let's say the Vikings are 0-4, they lose to the Panthers somehow on the road. Good call, Patrick Seeley, by the way, on the no trade clause. And then the Jets lose this weekend and they're 1-3, and the Vikings are like, screw it. Let's trade Kirk to the Jets for a 7th round pick and just careen into the ground for Caleb Williams. And we have enough Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. They have enough where it's their offense. If you're Caleb Williams, you'd probably rather go to Minnesota than Arizona, right?
You'd be in the dome the whole year. I mean, but Arizona weather is great. But the only thing is, he'd have to play at Green Bay.
Well, hold on. If you're Kirk Cousins, I mean, there's a lot of considerations here. For starters, you made a lot of money. You probably want to go somewhere where that team's going to invest in you long term. Yeah. I said this to Pete Prisco, who argued with me forever about the Jets situation and talking to veteran quarterbacks or a guy like Carson Wentz. And my whole point is a guy like Wentz, and he's not looked at the same as Cousins.
Yeah.
But the next stop he gets, the next opportunity he gets, if he plays, it'll probably be his last if it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
And that could be, it will be. That's it. Like you only get so many stops in the NFL, and then the NFL moves on. So you got to be careful about where you pick and choose. And in this case, obviously in the chat, we heard from it. Like he's got the choice. He ultimately is going to be able to decide that. And if they tried to with the Jets, they tried to with Arizona, whoever else you're talking about, he might say, yeah, no, I'm going to finish things out here. He's on pace to pass for 6,000 yards.
Yeah, it's
6,000 yards right now. Justin Jefferson's leading the league in receiving. He's in a good spot. He's in with KOC. He's a great play caller. I don't know that you want to all of a sudden just say, yeah, I'm willing to go somewhere else just because we're 0-3 right now. It's not impossible for them to be able to fight their way back. It's been done before.
I think in that division too, if you're talking about somewhere where you could fight your way back, it's like
who's running away with it right now?
Right, the Lions and the Packers both look. They're playing this
Thursday. Whoever wins that game will probably be the favorite going forward.
But even if you're Minnesota, and by the way, a really weird scenario. Charles Robinson pointed. I think good job by him pointing it out. But all 4 teams that are 0-3 this year play each other this week.
Yeah, somebody's gonna get a win.
Right.
Well, we think that unless they tie. Because we have one of the stupidest rules that comes into effect in the playoffs, but not in the regular season. It's like, God forbid we just say, hey, let's just figure out a way of ending this thing and someone wins. There's no ties in the regular season.
It's like that's where we draw the line on player safety. Gives an extra 5 minutes of overtime, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, let's say that so 2 things here. One, if the Vikings go and beat the Panthers and the Broncos beat the Bears, and both teams are favored by 3.5 or 3 points, the Bears would own the current number 1 and number 2 overall picks, which is really interesting from that perspective. And then 2, let's say that one of the Packers or Lions, they could tie, of course, because we stupid rule, et cetera. But more than likely, one team is going to be 3-1. The other team will be 2-2. And if you're Vikings and you win that game and the Bears lose, they're out. The Bears are probably out of it. The Vikings are still just 2 games back of first place at 1-3. And it's you've got Jordan Love and you haven't played either of these teams. So it's like you can make up all that ground. And I think that's probably why you don't end up hitting the panic button, especially when you can you can easily argue you have the best quarterback in the division.
Well, and think about this too. Like Christian Darrisaw missed week 2 versus the Eagles. You had your backup Udo go and he gets hurt. Now you have Quisenberry. The center got hurt, Bradbury after 7 plays in week 1. So the offensive line's been a little banged up. You got a new defensive coordinator, Brian Flores, who's working with this group and trying to, get that shaped up from where it was a year ago. I think the Vikings are going to be playing their best football in the second half of the season with some of the adversity they faced early on. So there's no reason to panic. There's no reason to sit there and say we need to hit the reset button by any means. They just got to fix their mistakes. And these mistakes are fixable. Again, 5 points of pressure. 5 points of pressure.
Bad turnovers in the red zone. You can't win like that.
Well, they could easily be 2-1. They should have beaten the Chargers. You get the ball back at the 24-yard line to go get a touchdown. We should have clipped Pete Prisco doing a Kirk Cousins imitation from yesterday's show. He's like, it was pretty amusing. Could have easily beaten the Buccaneers. You had
They could be 3-0.
Could be. I don't. The Eagles kind of had them. I think the Eagles were double digits.
Don't forget, Justin Jefferson fumbled the ball going in at half. They were about to take the lead.
Right. Yeah. That's a good point.
Bro, they gave up 40 yards passing that game. They should have beat the Eagles.
It's a good point. Yeah, they could be 3-0.